Eddie, also known as Eddie the Head, is the mascot for the British heavy metal band Iron Maiden. He is a perennial fixture of the group's artwork, appearing in all of their album covers and in their merchandise, which includes t-shirts, posters and action figures. On top of this, Eddie features in all of the band's concerts, as well as in the first-person shooter video game, Ed Hunter, and is an unlockable character in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Originally a papier-mâché car copyright mask used in Iron Maiden's stage backdrop, the band transferred the name Eddie from the mask to an illustration by Derek Riggs, which was used as the band's debut album cover. Although he is occasionally described as zombie-like in the press, Eddie assumes a different guise relating to the themes of individual albums and their corresponding world tours, and has appeared as a cyborg, an Egyptian mummy and a lobotomized mental patient amongst others. Background: the very first version of Eddie was a mask made by an art student who was friends with Dave Beasley, then in charge of lighting, pyrotechnics and other effects for Iron Maiden's live show. According to Lights, the original mask was a papier-mâché car copyright mold of his own face, which was then used in the band's backdrop, consisting of LED lights and the band's logo. At the end of their live set, during the Iron Maiden song, a fish tank pump was used to squirt fake blood out of the mask's mouth, which typically covered their drummer, Doug Sampson. After this initial incarnation, Lights constructed a larger mask out of fiberglass, equipped with flashing eyes and the ability to release red smoke from its mouth. The band's bassist and founding member, Steve Harris, states that the name Eddie comes from the fact that said mask was referred to as the Head, which sounded like Ed in the band member's London accent. According to guitarist Dave Murray, the name was also inspired by an old joke. A wife had a baby, but it was born with only a head and no body. "Don't worry," says the doctor. "Bring him back in 5 years' time and we'll probably have a body for him." So 5 years go by, and there's Eddie the Ed, as his parents have called him, sitting on the mantelpiece, when in walks his dad. "Son," he says, "today's a very special day. It's your 5th birthday and we've got a very special surprise for you." "Oh no," says Eddie. "Not another fucking hat." Once Iron Maiden had secured a record contract with EMI, the band's manager, Rod Smallwood, decided that the band needed that one figure who utterly stamped his presence and image on the band in a way that was obvious enough to make a good album cover. After seeing some of his artwork on a Max Middleton poster, Smallwood set up a meeting with Derek Riggs and asked to see some of his other illustrations, in the midst of which was the band's first album cover. Originally created as an idea for a punk record, which Riggs states in the 12 Wasted Years documentary was based on an alleged American skull stuck to a Vietnamese tank, the band had extra hair added to the illustration, making it more suitable to their style of music, and transferred the name from the original masks they used on stage. Surmising that the creature had great visual continuity, Smallwood decided it would be used for all of the band's artwork. Smallwood claims that Rupert Perry, EMI's then managing director, came up with the idea that Eddie could become a more active part of the band's concerts, originally portrayed by Smallwood himself, wearing an Eddie mask and a leather jacket. The classic Walk on Eddie was created for the Beast on the Road tour by Dave Lights after seeing a pantomime version of Jack and the Beanstalk, which used similar giants consisting of basically a bloke on stilts but dressed up to look about 10 feet tall. As the band's stage show expanded, an additional gigantic Eddie was also incorporated at the back of the set during Iron Maiden, which, like the Walk on Eddie, would match the theme of the current tour, such as the 30-foot, mummified version used during the World Slavery Tour which shot sparks from its eyes. Eddie's debut appearance was on the band's first single cover, Running Free, in which his face was covered by shadow to protect his identity before the release of the band's first album. Since then, Eddie has assumed a different guise for each cover, such as a mummified Egyptian god for Powerslave, a lobotomized mental patient for Peace of Mind, emerging from a grave in Live After Death, and a cyborg for Somewhere in Time. Controversy: some of the band's artworks have proved controversial, such as the cover of Sanctuary, in which Eddie can be seen standing over the corpse of Margaret Thatcher. It was claimed that Iron Maiden were banned from releasing the single without censoring the cover, blacking out Thatcher's face, although Riggs has since claimed that this was fabricated by the band's management to gain publicity in the British tabloids. The most amount of controversy, however, was reserved for the band's third album, The Number of the Beast, whose artwork depicted Eddie controlling Satan like a marionette. Originally created by Riggs for the Purgatory single cover, but deemed do good by Smallwood and withheld for the next studio release, the image, along with a record's title track, led to the moral majority labeling Iron Maiden as Satanists and organizing public burnings of their back catalogue in the United States, which in turn gave them a large amount of publicity. Northern Ireland. During the course of the Troubles in Northern Ireland, Eddie the Head, specifically as he appeared on the sleeve of the Trooper, became an unofficial mascot of the Ulster Freedom Fighters loyalist paramilitary group and was the main figure on a number of the group's murals. During the Final Frontier World Tour in 2011, after Iron Maiden did not perform the Trooper in Belfast, Blabbermouth.net reported that there had been speculation amongst fans that this was due to the artwork's use in murals. Recognition. Gibson.com described Eddie in 2008 as the most recognizable metal icon in the world and one of the most versatile too, while in 2009 Guise called him perhaps the most enduring band mascot of all time. Many artists who have been influenced by Iron Maiden hold their artwork in high regard, with Joey Jordison of Slipknot commenting that he bought his first album on the strength of the cover alone, and Corey Taylor, also of Slipknot, stating that there wasn't a dude that I hung out with that wasn't trying to draw Eddie on their school books. Steve-O, from Jackass, says that they have the coolest album covers in the music industry, and Lars Ulrich, of Metallica, comments that they had the best packaging, the coolest t-shirts everything. Mick Wall describes Eddie as the immortal soul of Iron Maiden, the defining symbol of the eternally youthful, blissfully uncompromising spirit of the band's music. In 2008, Eddie won the Icon Award at the Metal Hammer Golden God Awards. Other artists. From 1980 onwards, the band's Eddie artwork was provided exclusively by Derek Riggs until 1992, when the band decided to accept contributions from other artists, with Smallwood explaining that they wanted to upgrade Eddie for the 90s. We wanted to take him from this sort of comic book horror creature and turn him into something a bit more straightforward so that he became even more threatening. Since then, Riggs has contributed much less to the band's artwork, creating part of one studio album, one single and two compilation covers, while the band have employed a number of different artists. Melvin Grant first drew Eddie for the Fear of the Dark sleeve, the first time anyone other than Riggs had designed a cover for Iron Maiden in which Eddie was pictured. Grant also worked on the Virtual 11, Death on the Road, the reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg, The Final Frontier and From Fear to Eternity covers. Mark Wilkinson depicted Eddie as a bat for the poster of their 1992 Monsters of Rock appearance, which was later used for the cover of the Live at Donington remaster. Wilkinson has also contributed to The Wicker Man, and Out of the Silent Planet singles, as well as the Best of the B-Sides album. Hugh Sim, noted for both his album cover work and guest musician appearances for the Canadian progressive rock band Rush, provided the artwork for The X Factor, the band's first digitally illustrated cover. Tom Adams provided the artwork to Edward the Great, showing Eddie as a king on a throne. Director Bob Seska of Camp Chaos created animations of various past Eddie incarnations for new versions of The Aces High, The Number of the Beast, The Wicker Man, Flight of Icarus, Run to the Hills, and the Trooper music videos, included in the Visions of the Beast DVD. Although not listed on the record's release, the From Fear to Eternity album sleeve credits David Patchett with creating the Dance of Death cover. According to Music Radar, Patchett asked for his name to be removed from the album's credits after the band decided to use an unfinished version of his design. The artwork was negatively received, with Sputnik Music deeming it terrible. Tim Bradstreet, best known for his contributions to the Punisher comics, created the cover of A Matter of Life and Death. Anthony Dry created the El Dorado, and the Final Frontier radio promo covers, featuring Melvin Grant's The Final Frontier Eddie in a comic book cover style. Various incarnations. See also, Derek Riggs, Melvin Grant, Iron Maiden, Notes. References